Hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. My name is Eli, and I like to talk about books. I'm joined by Pogo today. Hi, buddy. Yeah, oh, she's so adorable, you're so adorable. Welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about all the books that Isaac reads in the series Heartstopper, which recently came to Netflix about a month ago, created by Oseman, following Nick and Charlie and their group of friends, including Tao, Elle, Isaac, Tara, and Darcy. This has been my comfort read forever, so when the show came out, I was like very excited, and I have seen it more times than I feel like I should mention, so I won't, but it's a lot, and I don't have a problem. Yes, today we're going to be talking about Isaac and Toby Donovan, who plays Isaac. I'm wearing a sweater inspired by Isaac because he is very floral. He had a lot of cute little floral shirts, and we love that. We love Isaac. Isaac is everything we want to be and more. We being me. I'm just referring to myself in the plural. Actually, I have a dog. He's right here. His name is Pogo. Hi. He's so adorable. I think he's cuter than Nellie, but I'm biased. Let's get into the meat of it. We're talking about the books that Isaac read in Heartstopper. He reads 9. I read 8 for this because I could not find one, and we'll get to that later, you know, when it is relevant. I personally found a list of books read on Twitter. Twitter user Goddamn Dorothea asked the community and put out their own, like, oh, I know what this book is, but I don't know what this book is. And going off of screen caps, they collected a list, and I used that initially, but I think also that Netflix UK came out with an Instagram post. So for the official lists, there are many different sources, but I personally found one on Twitter created by a fan base, and I'll have the link to that in the description, just in case you're interested. Oh yeah, I have my notes that Isaac is my Patronus. Not really, I don't know. I relate to Isaac very hard, but if we're being honest, Alad is my Patronus. Anyway, let's move on. So the books, let's get to the books, right? The meat of the episode. Hi, we're on TV now, Pogo. Did you know that you're a TV star? You're a superstar. In episodic order, I will go through the books. So in episode, I actually don't know which episode they're in, and I could have found that out, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Sorry. So in the first episode, Isaac reads Dune Messiah, which is the second Dune book in the trilogy, and I actually have not read Dune, or I had not read Dune. So instead of reading Dune Messiah, I just picked up Dune because it did not make sense to me to start in the middle of a trilogy. I'm a little disappointed because look how much shorter Dune Messiah is, but whatever, it's fine. So I read Dune instead, and I actually loved Dune so much that I went out and bought the next 2 Dune books. So thanks, Isaac. So if you don't know, Dune follows the Atreides. He just decided he didn't want to be in the shot. That's fine. He's right here. Anyway, he follows the Atreides family. Or it starts with this family. They're a ducal family, and they moved to this new planet, planet Dune, which is also known as Arrakis. It's a planet that is essentially a desert, hence the name Dune. And they have this thing they call spice, which is, it's described to smell like cinnamon, but it's basically a spice. So the planet Arrakis like has these spice pockets, and if you can harvest the spice, it's very economically beneficial for the planet. So the empire wants to take over and figure out how to harvest the spice for their own financial benefit, and so that's why they send the Duke in. But the Harkonnens, the family, are like, nah, I want that spice though. That'll be good for me because like I want money. And so there's a betrayal, and then things go crazy because everyone's like, I want the spice. And the people on the planet, the Fremens, are like, but this is our planet, why should we help you? Well, money. And the Fremens are like, we don't care about money, we care about water, because we live in a desert and there's not a whole lot of water. And basically it starts off slow but gets more exciting. Murder. Is there murder? Yes, there's murder. Lots of death. I don't know where I'm going with this. The point, oh yes, politics make this harder to read. The politics, there's a lot of it. If you don't really care about who has what power and who gets the money, you're not gonna have a fun time getting through at least the first half of this book because there is a lot of politics. However, I found that the book picked up, and I know a lot of people don't make it past the first part and a half because of the politics, and I think that's fair, that's valid. So be warned, there are a lot of politics in Dune, but it's an incredible series in my opinion. I've only read the first book, but I really liked the first book, and obviously it's a very, very significant sci-fi contribution from Frank Herbert, so it's good, and I'm glad Isaac introduced me to it. 10 out of 10, Isaac has taste. The next book, episode 2, Isaac reads Naruto, volume 72. So just like the Dune series, I decided not to start in the middle. I read Naruto volume 1. I read it on an ebook because I could not find it at the bookstores, and I was able to get it through the library. On an ebook. So it was not a great experience. Would not recommend reading manga on ebook, but the manga's cute. My manga taste is more fun, kind of silly. I didn't love Naruto as much as some of the other manga I've read, and because manga tend to be very long series, I just thought I would commit to one. It is quite fun, and I can see why a high school boy would like it. It's about this orphan, Naruto, who goes through ninja training school, and he basically is gonna fail. He's not very good, but then he finds a magic scroll and masters the last task skill that he has to show he can do, and he graduates. And then it's just kind of goes forward his training to be a ninja, but also there's a secret about his past, why he doesn't have parents and that kind of thing. And again, it's quite interesting. There are some touching moments. It is fun. It's good to read, but I actually think the manga would be, or the anime would be more interesting than the manga. So maybe I'll check that out, but I have to watch Heartstopper like 100 more times before we can do that. Okay, in episode 3, I do think this is the episode where Isaac says, oh, they're in their honeymoon phase. And Hal's like, they're not even dating. And Isaac goes, unless they are. So that episode, I believe it's that scene, he's reading A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Now this book, I got this, I bought it on ebook. It was the first book I read for this. I was expecting not to, nope, I was kind of just meh. I'm reading it because I really like Heartstopper and I really like books, and this is where they overlap. But it's very, very, very good. Not gonna lie to you, I really enjoyed it. I am not the target audience for this book, and so again, I really was not expecting to like it. Well, it follows Pippa. She is in her last year 13 at school, and she has this school project that she wants to do, and it is basically to investigate a murder because she doesn't think that the man who was convicted, who then committed suicide, is the murderer or that he committed suicide. So she decides to investigate this 5-year-old murder, find out more, and basically catch the killer. And she says, oh, well, I wouldn't do that, I would go to the police. But she's also determined and hardworking and just investigates this murder. It makes sense, she wants to be an investigative journalist when she graduates and goes on to university or college, following her life passions. It is very well written, in my opinion. So there's funny moments, there are hard moments, there are touching moments, there are sad moments. It's just, there's so much in this story. And the way it's written is, you have like Pippa's work log. So first person, like, here's what I did today. You have interviews. You have also just a third person narrative. And I really enjoyed that way of telling the story, actually. I think it was cool. This is definitely for people who are like true crime podcast lovers. Like that kind of vibe makes sense to me, and I would recommend. It was just fun. They have like good characters and intelligent writing. I was expecting it to be easy in both what it required of me intellectually and also emotionally, and it wasn't. And I really admire that. It requires both emotional and intellectual parts and just creates a really cool book. I'm not going to continue the series because I think that the first book, like it's a very good standalone in my opinion, so I'm not gonna go forward with it, but it is a good book and it is a series. So thanks again, Isaac, for a great recommendation. Okay, the next book that Isaac reads, this one he's reading at the rugby match. Wow, I don't even have this written down, guys. I hate how I know that. I don't, because I love the show, but that tells you how many times I've watched it, right? Like, anyway, he's reading this at the rugby match, which is episode 4, Secret. He brings some antiseptic wipes. Okay, anyway. So he's reading Proud by Gary Thomas, which I actually haven't looked into this, and now that I'm talking about it, maybe I should have. But anyway, I assume it's a memoir about Gary Thomas coming out into his sexuality and just being proud and talking about it. And I was not able to find this book. I couldn't find it at the library. I couldn't find it at the 2 bookstores that I visited. And then my online bookstore, which is Canadian and not US, and so will have more of the UK editions, also did not have it. I kind of was SOL and I wasn't able to read it. I did not want to order it from the UK because it would have taken forever to get here, unfortunately. I'm sure it's a good book, and I do want to read it one day, eventually, hopefully, maybe. The next book that Isaac reads, Monopoly Scene, episode 5, Friend. Isaac's reading Pride and Prejudice. Well, he's not reading. He's sleeping. But next to him on the bed is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, a classic, a wonderful novel. It's a romance. It follows Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy. Fitzwilliam. Who names their child Fitzwilliam? Is that a common name? Because I would call myself Fitzy. It sounds better in my head. I would call myself Fitzy, but it doesn't sound as good aloud. Mr. Darcy and Lizzie Bennet, and it's just their romance. Basically hate to love, drama. They're both kind of quiet, brooding. Lizzie is very much smart. She's clever, she reads, she has witty banter with her father. Love that. This is an iconic, classic, wonderful. Everyone should read this. Isaac is self-reading this. Did we expect anything less? He has impeccable taste. Oh my god, I missed one! No! Okay, sorry, I missed one. In episode 3, Kiss. I can't believe I missed this. In episode 3, when Charlie's freaking out because Nick invited him to Harry's party, Isaac checks his phone and he's reading a book, and that is this book. You know, he's love that. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that is Quantum Mechanics, The Theoretical Minimum, What You Need to Know to Start Doing Physics by Leonard Susskind and Art Friedman. I'm not smart enough to understand this book, so I failed my college math placement test. I'm not math oriented. As you can tell, I think you might be able to tell, I like books. We got the theoretical minimum. Cool. It's about physics, theoretical minimum, talks about matrices. He talks about spin and vector and bra and kets, and I don't understand any of it. Like, he has formulas in there, like a lot of formulas, a lot of math, science stuff that I do not understand. It's a series of lectures, basically, and each lecture deals with a different thing. Okay, was Toby Donovan actually reading this? I don't doubt that Isaac could understand this, although he is like a freshman equivalent. He's in 9th grade. He's in year 10. And I don't think that they cover matrices in year 10. Like, when I was in 9th grade, I was in Algebra 1. I was doing algebra and not calculus, which is where they're like, you need to have a base knowledge of calculus 1. That's like, so anyway, I'm impressed. If Isaac really was like reading this, I'm really impressed. I mean, I don't doubt that Isaac was. If Toby was reading this and going, yeah, I understand, I'm also very impressed. I don't get this. Sorry, that one was episode 3. Episode 4 was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, or episode 3 and 4, 3, 4, I don't know. Episode 4 was definitely Proud. Episode 5, Pride and Prejudice. This Monopoly Scene in the next book happens. Also episode 5, which we love, Bowling Alley. Why would you bring a book to a bowling alley? Even I wouldn't. Well, no, I would, but I wouldn't read it, maybe. Anyway, we love Isaac, and he's reading Radio Silence by our very own Alice Oseman. I love this book. This came in the mail yesterday. I have the US edition, but I wanted to order the matching UK editions, so I have 4 more books on the way. I think this is their 2nd novel. I think it came out in 2016, so it was before Heartstopper. Yep. Exactly. I'm right. Wow. So this follows, basically, I think it's kind of cute that this is included because it follows Aled, who Isaac basically replaces in the TV show for various reasons, all of which I think are great reasons. Isaac is a wonderful character, makes a lot of sense. But anyway, so it follows Aled and Frances. Frances is a high school student, right, grammar school, whatever, and she really wants to get into Cambridge. That basically her entire life revolves around being head girl and getting good grades and being this perfect student. She wants to go to Cambridge because she thinks, you know, that's how she will get what she wants from life. That's how she will be happy and successful. On the inside, or, you know, on her, like, her true Frances self, she's kind of this nerd, and she really likes drawing. And she draws a lot of fan art for this podcast called Universe City. And then we also follow Aled. He's the year above Frances. He is in the same year as Charlie. So Nick and Charlie do make appearances in the novel. Just saying, pretty cool. There's also reference to the fire that starts in Solitaire, so that's also pretty cool. Anyway, so Aled is just quiet, shy. He has his close friends and everyone else he's just quiet and reserved around, but he's the creator of this podcast, Universe City. He reaches out to Frances, unbeknownst to them that they are each other, and is like, hey Frances, you want to do art? So Toulouse is her code name. And he says, do you want to do the art for the show? And Frances is like, oh my gosh, yes. And then they meet at a party and realize they are Toulouse and radio silence. They become really close friends. They live across the street from each other. And also interesting because Frances was best friends with Alad's twin sister, Karis, who has disappeared. So there's a lot going on, a lot of family stuff going on in Alad's life, and Frances trying to figure out, does she really want to go to college? Like, what does she really want to do with her life? Does she want to be an artist? Does she want to go into English Lit? And she's realizing she doesn't know what she wants to do anymore. And then Alad's identity as radio silence gets found out, and it kind of takes off from there. It's an incredible book. Just like friendship. Alice Oseman is really good at writing friendship. Like, she just gets it. It's really amazing. Anyway, the friendships are incredible. The family relations are incredible. It's a kind of an Easter egg because yes, Alice Oseman is the creator of the show, and Isaac takes over for Alad, and this is Alad's book. But it's also just like, of course Isaac would be reading this because he has good taste. Okay, the next book that Isaac reads, I believe this is in episode 8, and that is Gender Explorers by Juno Roche. I actually read this on the library, and then I made my mom order it, and so this is her copy. This is Gender Explorers by Juno Roche. It's a series of interviews that Juno Roche does with trans kids and their parents in a couple of nonprofit and like community centers for trans kids in the UK. Really, this book was, yeah. So it's a series of interviews with trans kids and their parents. It's wonderful. They ask wonderful questions. The kids tell wonderful stories. It's just, it hits home really, really hard for me, especially. I cried many times reading this book. It's not exceptionally well written or anything. I mean, it is just a series of interviews, and people are not eloquent when they speak. I don't know if that's obvious with me, but most people do not speak well-crafted, beautiful novels the first time that they open their mouths and say stuff. Incredible series of interviews. It's touching. It just opens up so much for the trans community and kids, and I recommend this for anyone, especially if you're part of the trans community. Either you're in it or you're tangentially involved. Highly recommend. It's an incredible. Also, look at that spine. Is beautiful. Cover is just. And the last book that Isaac reads, oh, I don't have here, I was about to reach for it and I was like, where is it? Is he does read this in Sports Day, the Sports Day episode, is There's No Planet B by Mike Berners-Lee. This is a nonfiction, again, about climate change. I don't generally read books about climate change because I'm very, 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 very anxious about the future and like where the planet is going and like where I'm going in it. And so it's hard for me to read that stuff without having a massive breakdown. But I do actually think Mike Berners-Lee does a good job of saying, you know, here is what's going on, but here's what you as an individual can do about it, and here's what you can do to impact on a grander scale if you have the resources and stuff, which is I appreciate, because as a single drop in a lake, what am I supposed to do, you know? Essentially, Mike Berners-Lee separates the book into sections. So like there's like energy and transportation and food, asks questions that people have and then tries to answer them, recognizing that this, like there's room for growth in knowledge and that this is just his research and other people might have different opinions and, you know, things are changing and all that sort of stuff, acknowledging other aspects that affect this that aren't necessarily climate change. So I really actually appreciated There Is No Planet B. I think it's a great read. Highly recommend if you're interested, but also a little bit scared, because I think Berners-Lee like approaches it really well. He acknowledges that it's scary to think about and talk about, but that if we don't, nothing will change. And those are all the books that Isaac reads. There's 9 of them. I read 8 of them. Holy moly. Sum up. So what do we learn about Isaac? He has impeccable taste in books. He's a well-rounded person. He reads a variety of books. Like he reads sci-fi, he reads classics, he reads young adult fiction about friends and about murder. He reads nonfiction about science and gender and sexuality and the climate. Like he is a well-rounded reader, a beautiful person, just inside and out. So he's smart, and like that really showed for me when I started reading the quantum mechanics book. If canonically Isaac understands that, this guy would change the world probably, because wow, he understands that at 15. So he's a wonderful, well-rounded, very smart person. And I think that definitely reading the books that he reads helps me like learn more about Isaac as a character, because we don't really see a whole lot of him. Like he's there, but he doesn't talk very much, which Charlie addresses. He's not one of the main 3 kind of romance storylines, which is sad, but understandable. And it's just, he's a wonderful, Isaac is wonderful, and we love him, and I'm so glad that, I'm sorry that Ala did not get a place in Heartstopper, but also makes sense, and Isaac, I think, is a perfect replacement. We love Isaac. We need more book nerd representation. There are so many of us out there in the world. It's nice to have a character on TV who reads books all the time. I love that. I also think that my journey of reading everything that Isaac reads like helped me not understand, I guess, more about myself, but it did definitely expose me to stuff that I would not have read. Most of the books that he reads, I would not have read. I think, yeah, I can tell you actually, these are the books I had read before. Radio Silence and Pride and Prejudice. Everything else I had either never heard of or, you know, like Dune. Isaac pushed me to read it, and again, I'm so glad he did because wow, incredible. I guess I'm kind of grateful, Isaac. Like, he just, like, impeccable taste. Whoever decided what books he was gonna read, I want to talk to them. Have they read all these books? What did they think? Hit me up. Or don't. I don't know. That's kind of weird. Maybe not. I don't know. I like talking about books though, so like that's this video. We love Isaac. Isaac was wonderful. Isaac impacted me so much, and you know, I hope if you read these books that you kind of get to understand Isaac more and understand like how he can impact you and how we can kind of learn from like all the stories in Heartstopper. I don't know. I don't want to like cry, so we're just gonna move on. It's an incredible show. Everyone should watch it. Comic is on Tapas for free. If you don't want to get the graphic novels, you can read it for free. However, Isaac is not in the comic, so that's unfortunate. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you get something out of it. Perhaps a couple more recommendations to read smart things by smart people. Smart and kind and loving Isaac said, "Here are all the books I read." And I said, "Thank you, sir." And I collected them and I held them in my heart and I read them and I said, wow, I'm bigger and stronger because I read these books. I don't know where I'm going. I'm just gonna end this here. I've been talking for a while. I love these books. I love Isaac. I love Heartstopper. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, your evening, your morning. I don't know. Enjoy your time on this planet while you're here because you can only live now. I love every one of you so much. Goodbye.